So guys, I just want to illustrate on a nine-handed table. These are the positions. There's a little bit of a change from the positions before. So now we have low jack and high jack, which they're not that new, but for some of you they might be new. Under the gun 1, under the gun 2, middle position 1, middle position 2, low jack, high jack, cutoff, and dealer. Now on a 6 max, this is for 9 max, this is just for information. Now on 6 max, the positions are as follows. Obviously you have less than 9 positions. We have button or dealer, small blind, big blind, under the gun, middle position, and cutoff. And that's it. Now I want to start just to illustrate the stealing positions are the small blind, the dealer or button, and the cutoff. Those are the positions that we're going to be primarily stealing with. So on the statistics of the hold'em manager, when you see steal positions, those are the 3 steal positions. Now in this section, we're just going to go over a little bit of terminology. Most of it is very common knowledge, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and we know everything. So we already know what steal is. Steal is when everybody folds and somebody from the cutoff, the button, or the small blind opens or raises first in. He's trying to steal. So for example, in this hand, the button is trying to steal. Everybody folds before the button and the button opens or raises first in. Open and raise first in is the same thing, or RFI, raise first in. Now, when we say bet is when no one has entered any money in the pot. For example, that's a bet. Another example, this is not a bet. There's already money in the pot pre-flop, so every time somebody increases the bet pre-flop, it's considered a raise. So this is a raise or a second bet, because that's already a first bet. And now if somebody re-raises, it's going to be a 3-bet. 3-bet does not mean 3 times the amount, or 4-bet does not mean 4 times the amount. So for example, cutoff opens or raises pre-flop, and the button 3-bets. So that's going to be 1-bet. I don't know why I'm pointing. So it's going to be 1-bet is already here, 2-bet or RFI or open, 3-bet. Now he calls versus a 3-bet. I just want to give another example. Open, 3-bet. Now this is called a cold call 3-bet. Every time you hear the word cold, it means that that person haven't played yet. For example, he hasn't played yet and he's cold calling something. Okay, now if he 4-bets, that's going to be a cold 4-bet because he's 4-betting without actually having put any action in before that. Now this is not a 3-bet. I'm going to reverse the action. Open, call. So this is a cold call. He hasn't played yet and he's calling. It's a cold call, but generally pretty much every call versus an open is a cold call. Now this is called a squeeze. Basically you're squeezing or you're 3-betting 2 people. You're 3-betting a raiser and a caller. That's called a squeeze. Now after the squeeze we got a 4-bet. He's 4-betting, which is strong. He's too short, so that's fine. And the person who squeezes goes all in. I'm guessing aces or kings. Aces. Okay, we're on the flop. And that's called a check raise. So I know it's self-explanatory. When somebody check and then the opponent bets and that somebody raises, it's called a check raise. It is used, it might be a very powerful tool if used correctly. It might be a very poor tool if used improperly. And C-bet is continuation bet. Now here we have an open and a call. And now the original opener, if they continue to bet, it's called a C-bet or continuation bet. So just as an example, we got open, C-bet on the flop, C-bet on the turn, and he actually goes for what we call triple barrel, which is C-bet flop, turn, and river. All in all, this is the terminology. There are just a few more things I want to touch on, but they're not really terminology in terms of what lines do we take. This is called a line. Here we took the line of bet, bet, bet. Okay, so one thing is fast play and slow play. Now, fast play, when we say fast play, we don't mean that we play the hand fast in terms of we click the button fast. Fast play is exactly this hand. Bet, bet, bet. That's a fast play. Now, had the hero decided to just check the flop, that's going to be a slow play. All right, an example of a slow play is this hand where we 3-bet from the big blind, villain. Villain is opponent, villain calls. Board comes ace, queen, deuce, villain checks, and we check back. Now, slow play doesn't mean clicking the button slow. It means when we slow down in terms of how often we're gonna bet into the hand. So this is an example of a slow play. There's reasons why we opt to check on this board. So set mining is when we have generally a smaller pocket pair, like deuces through sixes, and we just call. It might be from a different position, not from the small blind specifically. I'm not going to go into detail, but generally we just call and we try to flop a set, or to set up a mine. Like it comes from putting a mine for someone to step on. So that's called set mining, like in this situation here. All in all, this is a terminology that I wanted to mention into this section, and let's continue with the next slide.